Всем привет! В прошлой серии, в конце серии мы получили мастер-ключ. Теперь мы можем...
Haunts Emma Sloan and fills her with dread. This time, she does as she's told. It's not enough to save her.
Да, не успела даже договорить, как наша Эмма снова откинула копыта. Ну и черт с ним. В следующий раз спасем. Я так чувствую. Че чувствую? Я точно знаю, что мы сюда еще придем.
Alice and Barry, my wife and my best friend, are easily the two most important people in my life. And they've never really gotten along with each other. I suppose both of them resent the other's intrusions into what they considered their domain. After I was gone, they maintained an uneasy truce. My book stayed in print, still selling, the licensing machine churned away. She was my wife and controlled the intellectual property. He was my agent and took care of the business. I wish they found more common ground than that.
Ну, радуйся, что он ее не стал пежить. Так. Что тут у нас? Ничего у нас тут. Вот реально не знаю, сбегать до динера или не сбегать. Не хочется время тратить, но... Скорее всего, там какие-нибудь странички пропущенные. Как-то мастер-ключ не все открывает у нас почему-то. Так, это ключи. Давайте тогда сбегаем. Все, мы типа нашли то, что хотели. У нас сменился таск. Блин. И мы сразу же идем.
It's said that nobody knows what the future might bring, but for this man, it's no longer entirely true. A weaker man might simply give up, but the champion of light is an expert on destiny. Sometimes the puppet and puppeteer can be one and the same.
Да, мы сразу же идем в обсерваторию. Тоже не самое интересное место, но посмотрим, что нас сейчас заставят делать.
Mount Redtooth, its top littered with man-made eyes that stare into the endless depths of space. Tonight, the champion of light will depend on them to pick out a message from the ether. As history repeats itself, the man remembers the patterns. He knows that he needs the missing part for the telescope.
I better find Dr. Meadows' car. That's where the camera should be.
А вдруг уже все починили? Хотя нет, она же не вылезает с обсерватории, так что да. Вариант, что она сама все сделала, тут не очень подходит. О, пожарные пошли. Что это было? У нас пожарный чем-то стреляет? Это не пожарный, это гранатчик. Черт. Еще я вижу, что здесь знак вопроса где-то. А это что значит? Что где-то здесь манускрипт припрятан. Где здесь манускрипт? Вот манускрипт.
When Dr. Rachel Meadows got the call from Michael, telling her to hurry to the observatory, she didn't waste any time. It had been a nice party. She'd had a good time, but her social life would always play second fiddle to the mysteries of space. Michael never showed up, of course. He pulled over at the wrong rest stop. She never even thought about him at the time. The phenomenon in the sky above her was too fascinating.
Пойдем этим путем. Да раз вас больше, ребята. Гранатчики. А шипит как чайник. Ты не прячься. Так, а тут у нас, во-первых, манускрипт.
There are places where our world is worn thin, and another reality brushes against ours. One such site is Cauldron Lake near Bright Falls, Washington. But there are others. That other reality is dark, vast, and malleable, always in flux. In its depths dwell vast forces and alien energies. They're dangerous. But in one of these places, if you know how, you can channel the power of that place and use it to shape reality.
Так, что тут у нас? Hunting Rifle. Не, знаете, ребят, я винтовочку не очень хочу. Может быть, она, конечно, здесь бы не помешала, но... не сейчас. Так, еще манускрипт.
The darkness rose from the depths of Cauldron Lake and took Alice. It needed words. It needed me to write its way into our world. She was leverage, a hostage. I complied, but with a twist. I put in a loophole that gave me a chance to fight back. I was hunted by shadowy enemies, but I faced the darkness. I fought it with light. I drove it back. I saved Alice, but it came with a cost. I was trapped in the dark place below Cauldron Lake.
Ну, зря они в этой игре пытаются продолжать сюжет оригинального Алана. Это реально нехорошо таким образом все это делать. Так мощно начать и пытаться потом таким мини-проектом продолжить. Ну. Представляю, как фанаты были разочарованы. Да, они поняли, что то, что обещал Ремеди, по сути является просто мини-игрой. Ну где ты? Давай, иди сюда уже. Патрончики. Сейчас паучки, наверное, полезут. Хотя нет, паучки так просто, конечно, не лезли. Что у нас тут в прошлый раз были полтергейсты. Были тут? Да. Что-то такое было. Пока все же птички. Давайте. Там много. Жалко, что на них свет не действует. какой-то я косой. Что называется, привык с автонаведением в Alan Wake'е. По привычке все просто зажимаю прицел и ожидаю, что он автоматом нацелится на врага, как это было. Ну, алло. Давайте уже, столько патронов на вас высадил. Где там? Ну, скрипт, я же вижу, что есть. Так, сразу.
Stories come naturally to us. We can't help it. There are many different worlds, many competing realities within our heads, fueled by books, television, even barely remembered childhood tales. There's an endless supply of fictional concepts more familiar to us than anything or anyone real. We have a far greater connection to the fictional characters we know and love than the random people we pass on the street. Our destinies and inspirations are shaped by lies, myths, and fables.
Тук-тук.
It's you! How dare you! No, wait. It isn't you, is it? I suppose you'd better come in. I'll unlock the door.
Thanks.
Что ж, помнила тетка. О, новое шоу.
I know what you're thinking. Evil twin, supernatural powers. But most of the time, I just like to keep things basic. I want you to understand that. Like this. Need to get your hands dirty? No batteries, no moving parts, just physics. That's technology you can depend on. It's a classic. Speaking of classics, you need to be careful with this one, though. If the victim suddenly twists, you might end up cutting yourself. It's not really a workhorse, but I'm a sucker for this style. Now this is more like it. You've got slip-resistant grip. Believe me, you really want that traction once you're wrist deep in somebody. The blade's stiff enough so it won't open by accident in your pocket, but it's still really easy to open with just one hand. Now that's a big thing for me. I know what you're thinking. It's too big, too heavy. But sometimes you just need the extra oomph. If you're talking intimidation, this is gonna do the job. Also great for dismemberings and whatnot. You know, the messy jobs. I can't tell you how many things I've MacGyvered with this stuff. Okay, now, guns. Not a big fan. I mean, how are you supposed to really connect with somebody with a bullet? I want you to understand that. I take pride in what I do. We can't both be worthless hacks, can we?
Какой-то он пластиковый маньяк. Ну, не веришь в персонажа абсолютно. Что у нас тут? Да ладно, по максимуму. Ну ладно, хорошо.
Forgive me, but this feels very strange. It seems like this has all happened before.
I have the replacement part for your telescope, Doctor.
Что, манускриптов нигде нет? Ну ладно.
think we can give this a go, although I find this strange.
Don't start it up yet. There's a problem with the coolant system.
Yes, that's right. I remember. All right, let me think. If they're sabotaging it, they'll be at the primary coolant pipe outside. If you can secure it, we should be ready to pick up the signal. That is why you're here, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'll take care of it.
Before you go, if you have the time, I'd appreciate if you came out here and explained it to me. All of this is very strange to me.
Так, тут где-то знак вопроса сверкал вот совсем рядом. Так, а это что такое? Комбат шотган. У нас еще недостаточно. Думаю, на третий заход, скорее всего, уже хватит. 29.
The Taken may well be the tool the darkness favors over any other. At some point, they used to be human, but whatever humanity they once had is long gone. Now they're just shells covered and filled by darkness. The Taken Mr. throws at me are more grotesque and varied than the ones I first encountered in Bright Falls. But I know how to deal with them. I'd be lying if I said they don't frighten me. But I've survived worse. I can't let them stop me.
Так, у нас только одна звездочка сейчас. До этого вроде было больше. Здесь побыстрее спуститься. Здесь можно. Ну, не то чтобы быстрее, но... Ну, тоже... Да, конечно. А, нет, все нормально. Все хорошо, мы смогли. Только обратно этим путем мы, конечно, уже не вернемся. Так, ух ты, как затормозил-то. Вот как я люблю, когда на консолях игры тормозят. Ой-ой-ой-ой-ой. Что такое? Билет дыма чуть не убила Xbox. Не, таких зверских тормозов даже на Соньке не встречал. Да, жестко, жестко. Ай-яй-яй-яй-яй, вот что можно сказать. Microsoft, который допускает такие лютые тормоза на своих эксклюзивах. Ну, спасибо, что хоть еще, конечно. Спасибо, что, конечно, еще и не глючит. Например, первый Gears of War, который, честно говоря, для меня оказался самой глючной игрой на консолях, пока я видел. Такого огромного количества глюков. Еще поискать надо. Как бы это ни делает игру, конечно, хуже. Она по-прежнему остается отличной, но нельзя же так. Все-таки консоли. Не персональный компьютер. Где за качество всем пофиг. Давай полтергейст. Так, нам надо вернуться. Здесь нам дорогу перекрыли. А здесь открыли. Ну, как бы, типа, угадайте, каким путем мы пойдем, да? вариантов много, конечно. Осторожней надо. Люди ж ходят. Это не полтергейст, это просто... Это просто объект. А вот сейчас уже полтергейсты. Так. С ними надо аккуратно, они очень больно бьют. Очень больно. Я бы сказал, что могут запросто и убить. Ну вот сейчас видели? Я каким-то чудом остался жив. А что это? Фонарики. Вот до них бы добраться. А, дразнят нас, да? Очень мило с вашей стороны. Блин, меня сейчас так положить могут. Чекпоинта-то ведь не было до сих пор. Да ну вас всех, блин, в баню. Честное слово. Кто ж так делает? Так. Не везет. Не люто везет. Столько раз на грани. Сейчас хочется тупо чекпоинта. Это гранатчики. Осторожненько. Что, я могу вернуться? Или сейчас еще какая-нибудь дрянь на меня свалится? Пока все отличненько. Вот только... Че это меня свет не лечит?
It's working. Please, come up here.
Сейчас патрончиков еще скушаю. Ням-ням-ням. Побежали.
Find the signal?
Yes. I don't think it's quite the same thing we had, the last time. Still, we're definitely picking it up.
Are we getting the complete signal now?
I'm afraid not. Take a look at it yourself. I'm printing out a hard copy now. I'd like to ask you a question or two before that, though. If you don't mind.
Да давай.
What's on your mind, Doctor?
Most people would find these events extremely disturbing, provided that they survive these creatures, that is. You seem to be quite adept at dealing with the situation. Why is that?
Yes, I was involved in... It's a complex story. I was in this small town, and a horrible thing from another dimension kidnapped my wife and manipulated me into writing this horror story that came true. I learned to fight it with light, and I managed to contain it and free my wife. But I was trapped in its world.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. So, I'm used to reality working in strange or even impossible ways. And I fought these things, not exactly like this, but close enough for a good while now. Of course, I have certain advantages. Was there anything else?
What did you mean when you said you have advantages?
At the risk of sounding like a lunatic, reality is much more fluid than people think. It can be influenced.
I didn't take you for a mystic.
I'm not. I'm a writer. And under certain conditions, I can, for lack of a better word, rewrite reality. Change things.
That's absurd.
But it works.
Assuming I believe this, why don't you simply, I don't know, write yourself some superpowers?
It's not quite that simple. You need to follow certain laws of drama, I suppose. You need to think about consistency and symbolism. Often what you write isn't anywhere near as important as what you imply. There are things out there that will take advantage of your mistakes.
You really believe in this?
Don't look at me like that. You've experienced some of this yourself.
I will gladly admit that something exceedingly strange is going on. But this idea that you're somehow altering reality with your writing is ridiculous. You're essentially saying you're controlling my actions. Leaving aside the rational arguments against this, what gives you the right?
Well, it's more like having a destiny. A path you're on. You're not aware of it, but there it is. If somebody changes it, what difference does it make? It's what every writer does. If you write something that affects one of the characters, they don't really know about that.
I'm not a character. Are you saying that it's all right to take advantage of someone if they aren't aware of it?
Look, all I meant was that if you're genuinely making all your own decisions, and those decisions lead to whatever destiny you have, what practical difference does it make?
I suppose that depends on whether our destinies are determined by things like physics and probabilities, or natural reality, which is presumably neutral and impartial, or by some kind of an intelligence. If it's the latter, that intelligence makes choices based on some criteria. If we suffer as a result of those choices, there's a moral and ethical element involved, regardless of whether we're aware of its manipulations. Wouldn't you agree?
You're taking this very well. I thought you'd be hangry.
I suppose I would be if I thought you could actually do this.
Ладно, пора трепаться.
Another printout. Another signal fragment. The message is still not complete, but it's another piece of the weapon he has built against his adversary. Mere words on a piece of paper, but in the right hands, they will hold back the darkness.
И мы снова идем в третью главу. Интересно, что мы сейчас будем делать. Сразу бежим восстанавливать электроэнергию, не забегая к телочке.
The last time the man came to the drive-in, it did not end well. He hopes to avoid that fate this time. He hopes that what he has brought with him to this place is enough.
Я даже не знаю. Вижу где-то скриптик валяется. В ту сторону.
Serena's probably out of her mind again. But I'm gonna need that key so I can get the power back on. To change the world, you must craft a blueprint for the new reality. Any work of art will do, as long as it's a genuine act of creation. That's what the energies of the dark place respond to. The results may be subtle and perplexing, or far-ranging and momentous. My area of expertise, the written word, gives much more precise results than music or interpretive dance would, for instance. But words can be extremely dangerous. What you define may become reality, but so can that which you imply, even if you don't realize you're doing so.
You again?
I'm really just here to get the keys so I can get the power back on.
Do you want to hold me down? It's okay. I know you like that.
Yeah, I'll just grab the keys.
I could be like your wife. Little wifey. Waiting at home for hubby. Or you could be the mailman. Or the neighbor.
I'm already married to someone who isn't crazy, thanks. I'm just gonna go and get the power back on.
Aww.
Look, I may or may not be back. I have the access code to the booth already, so once the power is on...
You should totally come see me. We could have fun. You know.
We'll see how it goes. You should sit down or something. Try to stay calm.
I don't want to be calm. I want to be nasty. I want to be nasty with you.
Yeah, okay.
You could do anything you want. You can use my...
Let's not even go there. I was hoping that you'd remember more, but I guess that was too much to ask.
Жаль, что нельзя развить этот разговор до дела. Было бы забавно посмотреть. Так, что тут у нас? Патрончики нам пока не нужны. У нас есть радио, ключики. Кстати, да, мы теперь знаем код, так что... Но по-прежнему задание на Restore Power.
I was about to do the weather, but I see we have a caller. Hey, you're on the air with Eddie. What's up?
Hey, Eddie, it's Ricky. You talked about fate before. You think about that a lot?
Not a lot, to be honest, but I take it you do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Any conclusions you'd care to share, Ricky?
Well, we've got free will, right? That's in the Bible and everything.
Yeah, right, sure.
So free will, right? Am I right? I mean, if we can do what we want, how can there be fate? I mean, you don't know what's going to happen next, so there's no fate. There's just people doing stuff.
Well, I don't know, Ricky. I don't suppose you have considered the possibility that we're all here in the service of a greater purpose, incomprehensible to us,
and that what we take to be freedom is nothing more than the move of a pawn on some cosmic chessboard, limited in scope, subject to the whims of unseen players,
existing only for their entertainment.
Or perhaps we're just a twisted
reflection
of actual events that can happen elsewhere. Could it be that such is life in Night Springs?
Dude, what?
Food for thought, Ricky. Food for thought.
Что ж, тьма съела нашего диджея, а нам нужно идти устанавливать генератор. И давайте на этом эту серию завершим. Установление генератора и показ киношки оставим на следующую. Там, наверное, мы и закончим второй акт. И выйдем на очередной круг нашего американского кошмара. Да. Что ж, спасибо за просмотр. На сегодня все. Пока-пока.